What's going on, y'all? It's Jay Smo Reviews here, back at it again with another video. Bring you guys today more of a general discussion and kind of thoughts video. As a part of the Let's Talk Battle Rap team, I was part of putting together our top 50 greatest battle rappers of all time list, unranked for those, because obviously I love ranking on this channel, man. But we're going to talk a little bit just about the list here, some of the main people that I see people thought were snubbed, or some of the maybe concerns, battlers that they've thrown in there that I've seen maybe more than once or twice. There'll always be somebody said, oh, solo, you know what I'm saying? People will say anything. But I see different recommendations, and also just to talk about specifically when we have our cards that we put statistics on. You'll see examples of it here, hopefully in the left and right. And just talking about a couple that maybe shocked me a little bit personally while helping put together the stats and put together this list. Guys that I realize might be should be higher rated all time, maybe should be a little bit lower rated all time. So more just a general discussion, but just want to start out addressing some of the snubs that people thought from the list. So, as I said, just to go over a few of those perceived snubs, right, I got about 3 names here I want to talk about that I've seen more than once or a couple times, and also want to mention all 3 of these were in discussions for making the list at one point, if not, or at least discussions of possibly making it, if not put on the list, maybe taken off. So, obviously, utmost respect for these 3 battle rappers, but the first one to talk about is Eart. I saw a few people saying Eart, and I understand, particularly because, you know, the one thing that strikes me about Eart, if I had to say maybe the biggest positive of her career, in my opinion, is her performance rate and just like a lot of her wins versus the other top women, whether it be depending the time period too, whether it be a Miss Hustle, Jazz the Rapper, 40 Bars, C3, Misfit, Shayna, even Gaddis. I mean, the list goes on and on of top tier ladies that Eart has performed well against. And that's not even including some of her later work down the line, like a First Lady Flames, like up and coming talent or newer talent. So I think when you look at that across some of the other greats, and you see people like a Hustle, Jazz, 40, and Official make the list, you think maybe Eart will fit in there. And ironically, I do think that she is the 5th best female battle rapper of all time. I think it is those 4 and then her. But the reasons that she didn't make it, one, her YouTube presence isn't overwhelming, right? With around, I believe it's 170,000 views per battle, and in around like a little over 5 million total views. And listen, 170, especially in female battle, in the scope of female battle rap legends, is not bad whatsoever. It's on the higher end, but in the totality of a top 50 list, it's just not. There's people maybe with a little bit worse around that, but it's not enough to just like throw her on there. It's enough to qualify. When I look at the body of work, 2 things that are missing is big stage presence, right? Just big stage performances that stand out. Even if it's a couple, there's just not that in her catalog. And then her performance rate versus top tier men, which just makes up most of top tier, to be honest with you, just with the way that battle rap is set up. And there's not really too many opportunities in that situation as is, but when there is, you have something like a K-Shine battle, right? So when I look at you compared to maybe other legends on this list, what does your record shape out as if you've even battled that many other people on the list? So those are things that just kind of held her back a little bit. It's more about what other people may have did just to bump up than it is really anything to pick apart. But if I had to give reasons, those were the reasons I'd give. Another 2 names that I saw, one is Bris Rothstein. And listen, I've done one of the first videos I ever did on this channel. Was a Bris Rothstein breaking out his 2016-2017, which many would remember as the run of Bris versus Past, Bris versus Arsenal, Ill Will, the run pretty much up to his Calico battle. And even after that, around 2019, when he had the Loso one-rounder, Mr. Wavy is the Young Ill battle. There's different peaks where Bris is competing at a best-in-the-world type of level, and just looking at his pure ability and talent, plus the views he had around those runs, I completely understand. You know, people look at those peaks and say, why is that not up there? And it's because one big part of this list is longevity, right? A lot of these people have careers that span over time. When it comes to Bris, the thing is, when he entered the game, he was not at just 100, right? It took him a minute. The Verb battle, the Suge battle, even the DNA battle, although that's a step more in the right direction, it took Bris a minute to find his footing. But when he did get to stardom, it really lasted all of a 3-year spell, maybe 4 years. And at this point now, he had his rookie build up, right? Building up through Spit That Heat, where you're building up, but you're not necessarily building legacy, right? That's not Hall of Fame type work that he gave then. He has great years, and now his hiatus from battle rap might be longer than his peak was. And for that, that is a great peak. I can understand off pure ability people making it, but when we're looking at a list that, as you see, we based a lot off of stats and numbers, impact, and like measurable numerical impact, things of that nature, Bris just doesn't have the appearances on big stage events or the numbers to really run with these other guys because his career, he's cut short. And for that reason, that's why Bris did not make the list. And there is one more snubbable name, we'll use that term, a name that I've seen the most, I'd say, of why it missed the list, like asking. And for us was also the most controversial name in terms of us discussing it and deciding if this guy was going to make the list or not. And that is Chess, which is always a tough conversation, it feels like, when we talk about Chess in the all-time ranks, because we know how he is ability-wise. And as I said earlier, a big portion of this list is based off of views and impact and kind of that status effect that's not always attributed to skill set, and Chess has that as well, right? With an average views count of 780,000 views, which is very, very good, nearing 800,000 and better than some very recognizable legends like a John Dodon, like an Averb, a Rum Nitty, even a Geechee Gotti, who we all hold in high regard for the some people giving John problems. We're going to talk about him in a second because I think his career a little bit underrated once you look at the stats. But for the most part, Chess has a lot of impact in terms of his per views. And then overall, 38 million total views. That can vary just depending on battle volume, but that's around what a lot of legends have. So in the views category, he is there. Now, here's the thing is that while skill, things like that are all subjective, right? There is a couple people, right, that we clearly know the difference in their resume a little bit, or that they've had a little bit of a harder road. And two particular examples, someone else that made this list, I know that Chess will get compared to, is Twerk, right? When we look at Twerk and Chess, we know there is a litany of fuck-ups in the career, and there's a litany of highs and lows and things to talk about when it comes to them. We know ability-wise they have it, but it's about how they put the ability out there. I think my kind of test and why I think that there's a difference between the two is if you look at the people they battled on the list, right? Like take Twerk and look at everyone he battled on the list and kind of tally up those results, or just talk about what you see. And then take Chess and everybody he's versed that also made this top 50 list and tally up those results. And when I look at Twerk, you're going to have definitely losses in here. Geechee Gotti, Sue Surf, you know what I'm saying? And I'm sure that I'm not even naming a few off the top of my head, but you're going to see battles like Averb, like John Dodon, like his battle versus JC, like his battle versus Ill Will, like his battle versus Tay-Rock, like versus Murda Mook, Hollow Dodon. Look at these peaks, you know what I'm saying? And listen, there's clearly all-time level peaks in Chess's career, like Chess versus Easy, right, which in my opinion is the best SM battle of all time. Chess versus Rock, granted I have him losing that, but we know how incredible that battle is. Even Chess versus Geechee, same instance. Personally, I have him losing, but it is incredible. But then I get to things like Chess versus JC, Chess versus John, Chess versus Shotgun Suge, Chess versus Calico, Chess versus K-Shine, the Chess Battle Marv, right, in the 2-on-2. So there's that. Chess versus B-Magic, Chess versus Cortezes, to the point that those battles didn't even come out. There's just a little bit too much versus the other greats of just not enough greatness compared to some of the other kind of down spells that he has here. I know his record versus top tiers, people talk about it. It's already over talked about, but for me, even though you meet on that impact side, it's got to meet here on the production side a little. And while Chess has his peaks, for the opportunities he's had versus the other greats, there just wasn't enough consistency for me to be like, all right, well, this is what he's like against the other top 50. Is he really top 50? And I think he has all the, we always have that conversation with Chess. He has all the talent, all the reason in the world to be there. But for me, a big part of being an all-time great is how you perform against the other all-time greats. And if there was a litany of debatables and I just felt a certain type of way, then it would be a different conversation. You know what I'm saying? We always try to call it down the middle as possible. But for me, I think these clear results, clear negative results, and these important battles just kind of stack up too much, and is the reason that Chess really did not make this list. And now, after going over, right, the names that could have been snubs, where all the dialogue is going to be, right? Because since it's unranked, it's going to be mostly about not necessarily numbers, who's over who, even though I'd love to hear your debates on that as well. I love the all-time talk. But it's going to be about who didn't make it, who just should have made it. But wanted to shine some light on some of the more, like, crazy cards here in terms of just stuffed with stats. Like, when we were looking at them, when we were making these, which ones kind of stood out as damn, like these are all legends, but yes, the career reads on paper as it should. And the first one to talk about, no shocker here, is Hitman Holla, the views king. We know what he does, and a very key stat here: 2.4 million views per battle, which is ridiculous. The only people really of that tier conceded with a little over 2 million, I believe. Surf. I'll have the cards pop up periodically so you guys can see which ones I'm talking about context wise, but Surf with about 2.3 million, if I'm correct, views per battles, and another superstar. So Hitman, though, 2.4, I believe that is the highest that we have here. Could be incorrect, but I believe it is the highest. But the other thing that really shocks me here, besides the other view stats, like 5 of the 10 URLs most viewed battles, you look at RB, how many views he has there, is the headliner count, considering how many battles he had. I mean, he only has 38 battles, right, that are out there on the internet. And I mean, some of those you have to attribute to somebody that's kind of earning their way up, right? And if you look at the headliner count, I mean, he's headlining for like a third of his career. 6 URL headliners. He has not had a one-on-one URL battle going back all the way to Tay-Rock. And I believe that's 2017, 2018 when we get Summer Madness 7. So it's been that many years. He still has 6 URL headliners. For context, Easy the Block Captain, for his whole run there on URL, 1 URL headliner versus Danny Myers on Born Legacy 9. So it just goes to show, like, incredible. You know what I'm saying? That the fact that you're headlining that much, then 4 battles on RB, fuck it, 4 headliners on RB, right? Don't Flop, I mean, Guerrilla Warfare even, just everywhere he went, you know what I'm saying? Having a major impact, having this superstar factor, going back. It's not like he just got to this god tier status recently. We're talking about 2.4 million views per battle. Another person I want to talk about, someone that, no shocker, their stats look crazy, is Charlie Clips. I know we all, including myself, got frustrated with the effort going forward in some stretches and for some battles, but key stat here that very few people can say they have is 30 million view battles, 30 platinum battles. What can you say about Clips? 8 URL headliners. So think about how much Clips is probably battled on URL than Hitman. He's got 8 to Hitman 6. Just something to think about there. The 4 King of the Dot headliners, 2 on RB. I mean, of course, as a man who's been all over the place, the 6 Summer Madness and 6 Gnomes to go with that. And then a very key 7 consecutive headlining appearances, which is just cool because we talk about how, you know, in battle rap, it's harder, when people look at headline stats, it's harder to get to than most people realize, especially in big spots. And these are 7 consecutive headlines that happened on a lot of big cards. This is around Clips 3.0, which is around, it's funny, there's an era called the Clips 3.0 era. Man's got 30 platinum battles. You know, maybe he's foreshadowing. But I say all that to say, absolutely incredible. And on top of that, he's not too shabby in the views department with his 1.3 million average views per battle, but more importantly, 114 total views, which while Arsenal held the title for a long time, Clips is actually the most viewed battle rapper of all time at this point with 114 million. He's about 5 or 6 mil clear of Arsenal, which is crazy that stack has kind of evolved to that over time. But, you know, absolutely incredible and expected from someone of Clips' status. And then a couple more names that I just wanted to show some praise for here. Another one is Tay-Rock, and obviously think very highly of him. Just showing this to say, you know, when people say Rock is the face of URL, at least if not the GOAT of all time, like I believe, but the GOAT of URL, right? There's a lot of hot takes in battle rap, but that one, you should believe every second of the hype. But just a couple stats to talk about here, which you've seen. 17 URL headliners, that is first all-time in URL headliners. 10 Gnome appearances, that is first all-time in Gnome appearances. 9 SMs, that is first all-time in SM appearances. I mean, every URL-based stat, he's killing on volume. His views match up to that, it's no shocker. Rock averaging 1.8 million views per battle, so not hitting that 2 million mark like that of a Surf or a Hitman, but not that far behind. And obviously more volume, so he comes out somewhere to around 85 to 90 million total views. Just called the king of URL for a reason. The numbers back it up. Your eyes watching it back it up. So, you know, shout out Rock. And then the last two I just wanted to shout out real quick is Geechee and Nitty. Obviously, what they represent, being the faces of EFB and really this volume era, I'd say 2018 and going forward of stars still battling a lot and them showing that you can still be absolutely great. I mean, you see even Rock following that formula. Granted, it's because he really ran out of opponents, right? So he's showing a little bit of love with the matchups. But obviously, they have a lot of volume stats. So you see a Rum Nitty with 11 URL headliners, a Geechee with 15. So Geechee might be second all-time in URL headliners. That might be the first one that's behind Rock at his 17. But even from there, obviously, Geechee gives you the 5 SM appearances, the 5 Gnome appearances. Nitty somewhere around there. I believe it's 5 and 5, might be 6 and 6 maybe. Limited volume appearances for Geechee. I have a couple stats that personally, you know what I'm saying, in all the reworking and all that, missed a couple. I think DNA and Geechee are off by a couple volumes. My apologies, should be 3 volumes. But another crazy stat with Geechee, averaged 1 battle per month for 4 years. And that's what I mean by kind of emphasizing being outside when we're just battling. Every month, every 30 to 31 days for 4 years, Geechee had, if not 2, at least a battle within each of those intervals, which is crazy. And then both of them have incredible champion stats. Geechee, 3-time champion of the year, Nitty winning it in 2022, and Geechee appearing on all six Cody appearances, and then Rum Nitty appearing on 5 of them, actually. In 2019, probably would have appeared too. You could debate he did. They did a retro panel, showed us my guy Tito and Lang worked with Black, so they do have a 20 list out. They haven't put it on Rap Genius yet, though. It's all very, like, detailed stuff, but 6 Cody appearances for Geechee, 5 for Nitty. So overall, when it looks at Cody, which is a big part of this era, done a lot of domination. Both of them are kind of around the same on views. I believe Nitty has like 35 million, 34 million total views. Geechee here with 40, and they both average around 600 and some change thousand for per battle. So just wanted to highlight all those greats real quick, show you their cards, and any other ones that added up there, kind of show them the stat output that they put out. Really an incredible project to be a part of, and I love giving flowers and showing respect to these people that share their incredible talents with us. But that is my full thoughts and real explanation here for our Let's Talk Battle Rap Top 50 Greatest of All Time list, man. This was an absolute blast to put together. It was also fucking exhausting. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of work went into this. So I see some battlers, Rosenberg, Jazz the Rapper, a couple people really showing a lot of love, John Hitman. It really means a lot because this is the first list of this magnitude that has stats with it, and stats that, you know, like Cody stats, even app stats, forgot to mention for Geechee and Nitty. Also, they tend to have a stronghold on that, but Gnome appearances, SMs, headliners, even the YouTube stuff, right? To have it all in one area. It's always so hard. We talk about the bookkeeping and battle rap. Besides Verse Tracker, it's nowhere you can go to really find stats that easy, and that's just for views. So wanted to give these guys a full appreciation, lay it out, and be like, these are really your numbers, and it's one of the first lists that's ever attempted that. So a couple might be wrong, like I said, in the editing. We're going to maybe fix a little bit of those as they go and rework them if we notice. So my apologies. There's a few errors and mistakes there. But hope that you all love the project. Like, and as per usual, leave your thoughts in the comments down below. What are some battlers in this list that you're shocked by? Any stats you're shocked by numbers wise? Do you agree with any of those snubs? Eart, Bris, Chess. Is there anyone else that didn't make this list that you feel like is worthy of a mention or argument? Love to go back and forth in the comments down below. But it's been J Smo Reviews again, y'all. As I said, like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna catch you on the next one, man. Peace.